Brilliant. Well, again, like I said, let me thank you for taking the time to speak to me. We really do appreciate it. But first things first, before we even get into anything video game and horror related, I just want to check in with you. How are you today and have you had a good week?
Yeah, I am good. I just had my haircut. I've come back from the pissing rain. So, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing well. How about
Well,
yourself, mate?
yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I have also just stepped in from the pissing
Yeah.
rain as well, but only to bring my bins in. Nothing major. But yeah, horrible weather. It's the UK. It's March. What do you expect, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
how you feeling? Obviously, because of the reason why we're talking is this is based around the fact that you've got a new release coming. Where's your
yeah,
mind
yeah.
at the moment with it? How are you feeling? Because at this stage is it's fair to say you could be at the point where you just want it out, or you still enjoying the ride.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think if you'd asked me a year ago, Cole, I would have said, "Oh, it's so frustrating. Like, we just want to fucking put some music out. Like, why is it taking so long? We've been doing this for about 2 years
Hmm.
in total. But now it's like finally hitting that moment. I mean, I'm definitely excited to put it out. I'm also like, it's like when the nerves finally settle in, you're kind of like, oh, how are people gonna react to it? And like, are we going on tour? Like, is the van gonna break down? Like, it's just all of those like, what could go wrong? But no, overall, really, really good, really excited. Like I say, we've been working on it for forever. And like there's been a lot of drama as well, right? I mean, not
Hmm.
not drama, but like I mean, at one point last year we had a member leave right before we were about to release our first single, and
Yeah.
that was a lot. So yeah, we've grown a lot. Not to reference the album title straight off the bat, but we have grown a lot, and yeah, it feels good, man.
Well, it is incredibly relevant. It is, of course, Growth out March 27th, 2026 via Floodlit Recordings. I think the response to the single so far kind of says that people are excited for this and backing you and behind it. And I've heard the full thing, and I can tell you it's an incredible, incredible release that is going
Thank
to turn a
you.
ton of heads. Of course, as well, you've got the tour upcoming as well. So basically, all very exciting stuff at the moment. I can't wait to see the reaction to it. It's one of those where I can say things and I can appreciate and I can love this kind of music. It fits my what I enjoy the most perfectly. But I'm as much excited to see the wider response. You know, the comments that you get on videos, social media reactions, and things like that. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
how much of that stuff do you pay attention to? Because obviously, social media and all of that can be mixed.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm kind of like the social media guy, I guess, of the band. So
There we go.
I've got a very close, yeah, sort of perception of how people are reacting. Like honestly, like I used to hate social media, and I kind of still do. I've got mixed feelings about it. Like it's a bit of a necessary evil, right? Like it's the only way to really get to people these days. But at the same time, like since starting the band account and like, and we've grown quite a bit like over the last couple of years. So that's been a nice feeling. But yeah, like when we release new music, when we kind of put silly videos out, like I put one out yesterday just of like me and Mark, the bassist, like just the rhythm section getting some love on stage. Um, and like yeah, people come out and they like they hit like and they sometimes comment and yeah, it's cool. It's wholesome for the most part. We've not had any nasty stuff, which is nice.
That is nice. It is a wholesome, great choice of words, because that's often a feeling that I think just kind of surrounds the band in general. Because of course, the music, particularly on Growth and stuff like that, there is emotion and there is impact and it is honesty and authentic and stuff like that. But it's also got a
Yeah.
wholesome vibe. So I'm glad I'm glad you're feeling the love, basically.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of love to go around. We're loving it.
Good stuff. Right, let's talk about love and other things then. So basically, we're going to go back to begin with on both sides of
Do
things,
it.
because of course, our full website name is Games, Brains, and Headbanging Life, gbhbl.com for short. And it was given that title way, way back in the day because we didn't just want to cover rock and metal. We were gamers, we were horror movie fans, and all of that stuff. Decided just put it all under one umbrella. Okay, it
Yeah,
pisses off
man.
every algorithm in the world, but we kind of don't we don't care about that side of things. So
Yeah.
yeah, gaming and horror we're going to be talking about of you. And really, let's start by going back to the past, specifically your childhood. And let's start on the gaming side of things with basically your earliest memory of playing a video game. What would that be?
Wow. It's I thought about this before coming on because I was kind of like, yeah, like what would it be?
Hmm.
And I think the one that like always kind of there's a couple actually. The one that
Hmm.
always comes to mind is you remember Rayman?
Yeah.
Ubisoft, like yeah, like one of the early not early but like one of those platformers that I feel like was just fucking amazing at the time. Like I got so many hours out of it.
Mm.
Like across the series as well, because I think there was like three main games, and then there's like a new one that was released more recently in like the last decade or whatever. But yeah, Rayman was really cool. Yeah, really love that game. But I tried, when like you sort of like look at a game from your childhood and you think, oh yeah, I wonder what would happen if I picked it up again and like just gave it a go. And I remember downloading, there was like a mobile version of Rayman that was on the Play
Right.
Store. So like I was just like, oh fuck it, when I've got the time to kill and stuff, like I'll have a go. And I just found myself being like, this is so hard.
Mm.
Like how did my, 10 or whatever year old self know how to beat these bosses and get through any of these levels? Because like I played it more recently and it's just like it's so difficult.
It's yeah, that is a thing, isn't it? Where like you go back to a video game from your childhood and I don't know, you're right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe it's perseverance or concentration or focus that was just different because maybe you guess you
Yeah.
didn't have the worries of an adult life. You could just put it all into that game.
Yeah. I just had the time and not thinking about paying rent and making the bills and
Exactly. It's exactly. It's not about that. It's instead, can I spend the next 4 hours trying to beat a boss, not 4 hours, oh, I must go to work.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, and like I more recently like played Cuphead. Like I say more
Hmm.
recently, this is like, last 5 or 6 years or whatever,
Yeah.
but it kind of like brought me back to that nostalgic feel because like again it's
Awesome.
platform style and difficult bosses,
Yeah.
relentless, like just yeah, very masochistic kind of like just keep trying, try again, you keep dying. But yeah, I love it though.
Yeah, that's Cuphead through and through. Certainly a choice game. It's interesting because Rayman, the original, just got a kind of re-release package on like the
Interesting.
modern consoles. I remember seeing it pop up on one of the storefronts. So maybe that's an option if you feel like you want to
Yeah.
really test yourself. Because I know the mobile game you're thinking of. I vaguely remember that one. And yeah, I mean, games on the phone are crap anyway for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
So then, at what age and stage of your life did you start to find yourself kind of hooked by gaming? And was there any particular thing that kind of bore responsibility for that?
Yeah, so I guess like my really early interaction with it was the Game Boy Advance. So like I think that was like the first console I picked up, and
Hmm.
I think it's like the classic thing of like, hey mum, I really want this thing, like it's being advertised, yada yada, like please get just like pestering away, and like we come from a poor family, so I look back on that now and I'm just like, oh, what a little fucking brat.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But yeah, I guess that was like the first console that I experienced, and then from there, um, PlayStation 1, like we're getting real nostalgic. And then yeah, PS2. I really fondly remember like the Nintendo Wii as well. Like that was,
Hmm.
kind of I remember like playing having mates around and stuff and just playing like silly Wii tennis and all those like kind of group games. But yeah, I think just the a bit of escapism, a bit of like
Mm.
just having that time to like just have fun and like yeah, not think about any of the shit stuff in life.
I love these questions because this is where you quickly start to gather someone's age without asking. You start to
Yeah.
notice a pattern, and I think I'm getting yours. But
Yeah,
if you could
yeah,
point out, so like roughly Game Boy Advance, that kind of time, PlayStation 1, obviously a defining console for many generations. And in that section, no doubt there would have been specific games that defined your childhood, so to speak. Not just the ones that you look back and go, "Oh, I remember playing," but the ones that when you immediately think of gaming as a child, jump out. Could you point out one or two games that you think defined your childhood?
yeah, big time. So like I really love like Jack and Daxter.
Okay.
I yeah it's
I mean, a
it's
great
just
platformer, yeah.
yeah, and I just it's one of those like really kind of just hits me in the right spot. Like
Mm.
it's it's yeah, I don't know. It just does all the right things for me basically. Like it's a platformer, and the characters are goofy as fuck, and like the story's silly, but like it's also there's a little bit of like when you're a kid, it's like oh some of these things are a bit scary, and then like the second game as well actually like
Mm.
Jack 2 where like it got really like gritty and quite like oh, there's some adult themes going on here. So
Real.
it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like the series like evolved and adapted like along in tandem with me growing up. Like
Mm.
it's hard to explain. Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
That is a unique feeling. Yeah, I completely understand what you mean. The idea that a game series also evolved as you evolved as well as you grow up. So the themes, even if today the themes weren't necessarily as potent as you remember, your age and what you were aware of would have maybe made things that would have passed you by as a kid a little bit more relevant.
Yeah,
I found that when you go back to sort of a film, sometimes a game, maybe you saw when you were younger or played when you were younger, and there are things you didn't understand then, but you completely understand now. I think this just comes with like I said, age, wisdom, time, and all of that, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I like just my life is a bit stupid. Like I spend
Mm,
too much time on my phone. Um and I watch, I go on YouTube and I just get my algorithms like just pumping like Simpsons clips at me just non-stop and
yeah.
obviously great show, but like it's just a lot of the kind of innuendos and like things that you didn't really get when you were a kid and like now you're watching them back and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, even you kind of forget The Simpsons gets a fair bit of disrespect these days because obviously varied results in the later years. But when you go back and watch not just
Yeah,
obviously those
yeah.
classics, but yeah, the stuff that's in them, you see, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there you would not that would go over a kid's head.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And yeah, I didn't kind of clock it as well, but it's interesting, right? Like Homer Simpson starts out being this quite endearing, lovable character. Like he's a father, but like he's got this neighbor who's like the perfect idealist sort of vision of an American, nuclear family and all that kind of shit.
Mm.
And he starts with that and like that kind of great endearing picture, and then he like evolves into this like buffoonish loud, like just that just does the silliest things, and it's sort of like where the soul kind of gets lost, I think, as it goes on.
I don't want to just turn into a Simpsons chat, but I just always remember
Yeah,
those early seasons being very moralistic. Like at the end, I always felt like there was a lesson to be learned, normally via Homer, and it was an important lesson. Whereas, as you say, later on, it became, dare I say, I'm going to use the word, cartoony as hell.
it did, it did. Yeah, very on brand, I guess, but
Yes. Okay, what about a system then? Everyone has that one that kind of holds a special place in their heart. Maybe it came at a specific point in their life and it was what they played during the year. SNES, PS1, N64, Xbox 360, a Philips CDI, if you're that mad. But what's your system and why?
yeah. So I think it's a bit later in life, but like Xbox 360, I
Mm.
just like just the memories of like getting into an Xbox live party with your mates and like I don't know Call of Duty is like rubbish now, but like back in the day, Modern
Mm.
Warfare 2 or Black Ops when those games came out, like my mates were religiously on the Xbox, like even when I like went to university, like, and we got a bit older, but we that was like our way of like staying in touch because like some of us
Yeah.
were in halls like in different places around the UK, so we still played like Call of Duty, like Search and Destroy, like fancy a cheeky game like on the weekend or whatever. And like it pissed my like I used to live with my dad actually like when I commuted to uni in London.
Mm.
So I'd be on the Xbox till like 3 in the morning some nights and like just not even realizing it. And yeah, I'm surprised my dad didn't just like flat out kick me out at the age of 18.
I completely understand what you're saying. Yes, from my era as well. And all everything you described there is basically the same. Spent way too much time on Rust with my
Yeah.
brothers. So yeah, I completely get that. If you're, I think if you're a certain age, the Xbox 360 will hold a special place in most people's heart, purely because they say from the multiplayer side of things. Is it fair to say then,
Yeah.
if I was to ask you about multiplayer in general, or from a gamer perspective, that the game you found yourself sinking kind of untold hours into online would be something like that, or is there another one?
Yeah, I guess like it's one of those things where like, you hit this adulthood period and it's like I would love for like just my mates to jump online and like hang
Yeah.
out playing Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever.
Mm.
Like that would be my ideal. But it's very hard like doing I started a new job recently, like the last few months and I the band very much takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like if I was to do something like multiplayer, it'd probably be yeah, like an older COD. Like I'd love to like jump on like a Black Ops 2 or 3 or
Mm.
what I don't know what number they're on now, but one of those. Yeah.
It's just time, isn't it? It really is just time when
Yeah.
you've got so much else going on. I completely understand that as well. I mean, I've got a full-time job. I've got this thing to run as well. I'm married
Yeah.
and I've got other commitments. So like Resident Evil Requiem comes out this week. Got to try and get through it
Oh,
as quickly as
yeah.
possible for a review perspective, but also to enjoy it. So I end up doing 3 or 4 hours really late at night to like 2, 3 in the morning. So, getting like 5 or 6 hours sleep just to do that. As you know, it's
Yeah.
it's like a first world problem. Oh no, I stayed up too late to play a game. I'm 41. Come on.
Yeah. But hey, like first world has its own unique struggles and challenges. So
True.
yeah.
Okay, again, everybody has that one game or potentially franchise where they probably sunk the most hours into, where either over many years you could tot it up and it would be hundreds and hundreds of hours, or maybe it's a specific game that you just sunk yourself into, an Elden Ring or a Dark Souls or something like that. Is there a game or franchise that you recognize as being the one you sunk so much, like the most time into?
Skyrim. Skyrim, yeah.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Elder Scrolls. I more recently, because I started with Skyrim, but more
Mhm.
recently got into Oblivion and just absolutely loved it. And yeah, like if I hadn't kind of managed to play Oblivion earlier, then I probably would say Oblivion. But like Skyrim definitely was like just that opening scene, where they're on the cart, like going towards that like they're about to get like hanged or whatever, and the dragon comes out. You're just like, whoa, what the fuck? This is so cool. So yeah, I think it's Skyrim, and it's just like any Bethesda game. Like I didn't really get into what was the space one called. I can't remember, but
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
was it like Starfield or something like that? I think.
Yeah, I think it's Starfield, isn't it? I haven't actually played that one.
Yeah. Well, nor have I, man. And I think the reason is just like I don't know if it's really quite what I want. I'd love like an Elder Scrolls
Mm,
6 to come out and just find something
eventually.
else to get obsessed with eventually. But yeah, no, it's definitely Skyrim.
Yeah,
Hundreds of hours, which is just obscene.
it is, but you're not alone in that. I gesture straight away because it's so often actually a common answer. I think the majority of people who've played games, even if they say don't play them anymore, will have played Skyrim and likely sunk a certain amount of hours. I would have once upon a time it was my game that I think hours wise. But then Elden Ring came along and that kind of bit topped that in. But like I think everybody, I've not met anybody who's been like, nah, I played Skyrim and I couldn't get into it. Like I've not met anyone like who's kind of said that. Not that everybody says it's the best thing ever, but most people
Yeah,
have an
yeah.
appreciation nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was that game that really cracked like the RPG that can be this accessible thing that like anyone
Mm.
can really get into. So yeah, like and all the it's just great, isn't it? Because like it's just the side quests become almost like the main
Yeah.
focus for people. It's so easy to like just dart around and be like, oh, who are these rebels that want me to like go and search for some weird, I don't know, gem or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it's great.
Wandering into the woods. Okay, let's talk from a more technical perspective then. Over the past kind of couple of decades, what development within the video game industry do you think's been quite revolutionary that really did notably make a difference for you?
Revolutionary. I think like I do like what Nintendo did. I mean, with the Switch, like when that came
Mm,
out, it did feel like they were onto something. Like I would love to see. I mean, I haven't got a Switch 2 yet.
mm,
I probably will get one eventually. In fact, I've been looking at like it's one thing where like, yeah, if I could just spend a bunch of money and like just not tell my wife about it, then I'd get a Steam Deck. And like,
Oh,
just but like yeah, I probably will get a Steam Deck. But yeah, I think like handheld consoles going back to the old school, whatever you want to call it, stuff like
mm,
um yeah, but like with like high fidelity graphics and all the rest
yeah.
of it. So yeah, I would love to say like VR and AR and that stuff, but like it just
Mm,
for me it just never really like had that much of a purpose in like my or many people's like lives. So like
mm.
I tried the Quest headset and like I got it over lockdown, like a lot of people probably did. And it was fun for like a bit, but eventually it was like, yeah, I'm done with that now. So yeah.
Fucking gimmicky, man. You know,
Yeah.
when they were starting to push it again, I remember thinking this felt very reminiscent of, not that I was old enough at the time to understand, but later on, like felt reminiscent of 80s 3D is the thing and all of that thing. But you can never know how these things pan out. And in the end, it feels like very much it's back to what it was, just a gimmick, an expensive gimmick for a Christmas gathering. Hey, granddad, put the VR
Yeah.
headset on and try not to fall over.
Trying not to hit your kids, just running
Basically,
around.
yeah. Because how much of it is that where you just see a freaking clip, a reel online, and it's
Yeah.
someone with a VR headset punching a hole in a TV or falling on top of something? It's always that.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Lots of silly stuff.
All right, same question. We're going to flip it over, which is basically what development within the video game industry in the last couple of decades that you think has been mostly negative for gamers overall?
You probably know my answer, but I just think like microtransactions, like and the whole yeah, just the whole
Mm,
trying to convince people to like spend all their loose change, like or even like a fucking credit card's worth of like money on
mm,
loot boxes and whatever else they kind of it was that whole like chance thing like it's a mystery like there's intrigue and stuff but like you really are just like handing over money and it's like what's the point of like buying a game to begin with, right? Like
mm.
they're kind of 60-70 quid right off the bat, so like and now you're asking me to spend like 10 or 20 quid for all this extra stuff. Like it's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably quite a bog standard answer, but that's the one I'd say.
It might be a book standard answer, but it's as relevant now as it was when this really first rose like to notability. It's an important answer because it's still an issue now. The fact that the Gambling Commission and had to step in here and get involved tells you
Yeah.
how bad this bloody got.
Yeah. Like it needed actual regulation, which is like, thank God, it's like someone saying something about it. It's like, how can it go unnoticed?
Yeah, the problem is when it comes to major, like I am very negative about a lot of the video game industry, in particular companies basically not just wanting some of the money, they want all the money all the time. And even then, when it's like, okay, you can't do certain things with loot boxes and packs and things like that, they just found another way to get around that by then slapping an extra £10 on the cost of every single game. So,
Yeah.
there's no winning here.
There's always a way to make more money from these suckers.
Yes. And the thing is, you know what? It's supposed to be a positive conversation where we're talking about a hobby that's both nostalgic and is relevant now, but inevitably you can't help get drawn into the negativity around major corporations and greed. And now, of course, with the rise of AI, I'm sure we're going to see some, I'm going to say it bluntly, some bullshit behavior over the next couple of years with these companies.
Yeah, I don't know like how far down this rabbit hole we want to go, but like
Mm,
I do really worry about like the whole temptation from multiple industries, right? Like to just use AI to kind of automate what are actually quite tricky problems, and like even
mm,
like with engineering, I don't want to get like too technical, but like AI is far from perfect when it comes to that stuff. So like it will inevitably come up with like hallucinations or all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really hope we don't go down that route, and that yeah, that sort of stronger minds will prevail. But let's see.
Yeah, let's say it is generally one of those to watch very, very carefully. You're right, it is a rabbit hole. I think we could do a whole video slash podcast on AI usage in general. But let's
Yeah.
let's keep it light and go for nostalgia here, because often video game, particularly of a certain age, ends up becoming quite a nostalgic experience where you look back fondly at things from your childhood, games from your childhood, particularly when you are seeing crappy practices in modern day. We all just want to hark back to the time where you bought a console, you bought a disc, you put it in, you press play, and that's what we dream of. So, with that in
Yeah.
mind, what is one aspect of gaming, and I mean all parts of gaming, that you consistently find yourself getting a little nostalgic over?
Uh, do you know what?
Mm.
I love going to just a good old fashioned arcade, and like there's a few like bars now that are like literally just like arcade bars. So like there's the
Mm.
common one in, I think it's called NQ64 in
Yep.
London. Like they've got a few of them around the country. And it's just such a good time. Like that's actually the time where I feel like I can, with my mates, like obviously we're getting a drink, so like there's a social element anyway, but like yeah, we could just hop on Guitar Hero or like
Mm.
uh GoldenEye, like like, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. So and it does take me back to like the experience of like, on holiday, by the seaside, going to an arcade, like spending all your pennies.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'll probably be it.
Are you in London?
I am, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then you'll remember the Trocadero from Leicester Square.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Um,
It's been gone a while, to be fair, and it was
yeah.
running down near the end, and it was mostly just bowling at the end. But that was like a pretty cool sort of multi-leveled set arcade place in Leicester Square.
Oh
I remember going
wow.
there right before it closed, or at least it got rid of everything, and I randomly found they were like stuffing all the arcade machines in like a corner, and I randomly found some Silent Hill arcade game that I'd never light gun game that I'd never ever seen before. And it didn't work properly and it didn't line up on all that kind of thing because it was on its last legs. But it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that was kind of cool. But yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
I am of that age as well. I when I first came to this country, I lived in and around an area called Woolwich, which is inside of southeast London, if you know that area.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
there was an arcade there called Sega Zone, and it was like a proper old school, like kind of almost you'd imagine an arcade was playing things like House of the Dead and all of that in there, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So when you talk
yeah.
about arcades, I immediately get a little nostalgic about it as well.
I love it. Yeah, I just love that because it's like I
Mm,
think everyone who is a gamer or even like non-gamers like will probably have a story of being in an arcade and like just that physical setting. And like I kind of think like stuff like that is almost where I'd like to see the gaming industry go, right? Just bringing it back to experiential stuff, and
mm,
like how can we like innovate like outside of like AI, which is just
mm.
everywhere, or VR and XR and all that sort of stuff. So like, yeah, I'd love to see like kind of, getting back into the physical room. I remember like fondly being on a couch, like with mates, just playing like Smash Bros and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, and it's so fun. Like, so yeah, yeah, I'd love that.
I think, as you said, the it was NQ64 in it. I've never been on one. I've been in something similar, but not that branded one. But like a couple of them, like the fact they're kind of trying to replicate that, book a TV a section for an hour, and there's like a
Yeah,
switch
yeah, yeah.
lined up. You buy some. Like I think that's actually pretty. Like it's a cool idea.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. There's one by I live in East London, so there's one in Hackney Wick called Four Quarters.
Right.
So yeah, if you ever get a chance, in fact, it's literally where I just got my not where I got my haircut, but there's the barber shop right next door is where I got my
Right.
haircut. So it's like very convenient. If I fancy just spending a bit of time playing some
There
consoles.
was there was a place down Dalston. I went there a few years ago that had it was like a video game themed bar. Did cocktails based on them, and like in the basement they had consoles hooked up. I just can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
Is it the same one?
yeah, no, it might be it's a similar area, like,
Hmm.
but yeah, there's a few, and there's one called I promise I'll stop like going on about this, but there's one called the Loading Bar in I think it's
There it is.
like
That's
yeah,
the
I think
one.
that's the one I think that's the one you're thinking of. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
I just love stuff like that. There's not enough around. But there's also, like I said, certain elements as well when you look at nostalgia that you'd also happily never experience again for whatever reason, either because it's traumatic for you, maybe you just couldn't get past that boss and you never
Yeah.
have, or other reasons. What's a aspect of gaming, nostalgia wise, that you'd happily never experience again?
Yeah. I think like I'm trying to think of an exact experience, but there would just be like, yeah, just that bit, right? Like there's just this sometimes it just feels like it's not supposed to be developed that way. So you have those kind of like tricky, like how to get to this particular platform or
Mm,
like solve this puzzle. Do you know what? Like, yeah, the Resident Evil games, I think,
mm,
are quite classic. Like Resident Evil 4, like there are some. It's not too bad. I'd say like the earlier games are probably where it's like more tricky, but there's definitely a few puzzles in there where I'm just kind of like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Like, what do they want from me? So yeah,
yeah, I always like those sort of memories because you don't have the luxury, or you didn't have the luxury then, of course, of just simply jumping on your phone and Googling an
yeah,
answer and then getting the
yeah.
result that way. As you said at the start of this part of the interview, how the hell did we ever manage?
I know, I know. I guess just we just had a lot more usage of our core, just brain functions were like doing all the right things, and we've just gotten. I think life has gotten a lot easier and like more convenient. Like, and I
Mm,
don't. I think some of it's good. Like, I use Google Maps incessantly to sort of navigate. I went to Copenhagen recently, and like, if I didn't have like Google Maps on on my phone or like just
mm,
my phone generally, I don't know how. I had a friend there who like helped out and stuff, but like. Yeah, things like that. But then there's kind of like we just kind of make it a bit too easy for ourselves now. And like, actually, if we kind of I like going to like an escape room, right? Where like, you have to really like put your heads together to work out this puzzle and like it could be the
mm.
simplest thing that you're not thinking of. Um, so yeah, yeah.
Well, escape rooms, in a way, are a form of multiplayer gaming to,
Yeah,
just real life.
yeah, yeah. I'd argue that, yeah.
All right, last one for the kind of gaming section, but basically it's focusing on the now. What are you currently playing?
So yeah, this I have picked up Jack and Daxter again, actually, funnily enough, because
Hmm.
you can get it on I've got PS5 and I think it's available on PS Plus. I got it
Yeah.
through like the subscription stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been playing it again and it's yeah, it hits me in the feels. So I'd love to say like some new games. I haven't really properly like kind of delved into some new stuff. I don't really know
Hmm.
like kind of I don't know how you feel about this, but I haven't seen like anything that sort of blows me away and that like, I want to race to sort of pick this up. In a little while, but yeah, I'm sure there'll be something down the track.
Like a lot of things, it actually ends up being the best kind of stuff is to be found in the indie markets, whether it be on the likes of
Yeah,
Steam or even just hidden down in the depths of like the Nintendo eShop, the Xbox Marketplace, the PlayStation Storefront, all of that stuff buried
yeah.
amongst them. Because of course you get your major releases, you couldn't move for the hype around Resident Evil Requiem, so it's almost like that and so much noise blind like means you can't focus on other things. But you kind of basically what you end up just having to do is sort of sit there loading up a storefront and just scroll for a bit, and sometimes just
Yeah.
take a punt. If the punt on something it's £4 or £5, it
Yeah,
sounds like it
chuck a
might be
fiver.
good. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to
Yeah.
take that risk, and that's how you find like your new favorite game ish, hopefully.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I really liked sorry, just the last one, like
You're right. No.
the like Amnesia, The Dark Descent,
Oh
like
yeah,
that
yeah,
first
yeah.
person horror. And like I think that was like is it Frictional Games or whatever the
Mm,
company was called. But they were like, just this indie developer like that nobody had heard of. And then like that thing became a viral sensation on like, YouTube, all these YouTubers were
yeah.
playing it and stuff. So there's another game that they made called Soma, which is
Hmm.
like this kind of like more like a sci-fi thing. And I absolutely love that. Like I really felt like that was the story felt really fresh and like they were trying to do things that I kind of wish like the majors were kind of doing. But yeah, no, you're totally right, man. Like, yeah, big shout out to indie devs.
Yes, yes, and good shout for those games as well. Okay, let's considering the horror aspect of what we just kind of just ended on, that works perftly to then quickly flip it
Nice. Yeah.
around.
I didn't mean
And
to throw that in, but
no, but it
yeah.
works because of course gaming and horror go hand in hand. Um,
Yeah.
in fact, actually, let's start with that then. Is there a video game that a horror video game that you can think of off the top of your head from your childhood that did or potentially did scare you?
Yeah, I guess like I think Resident Evil 4
Mm,
was probably that, yeah, because it's like I think there's just like that kind of I didn't play the initial ones like until later
yep.
on, but I do actually think like one would probably like scare the shit out of me as like a kid because that was like big reveal, like what the hell at the start. But yeah, I think that was probably like the one, and like yeah, and it's really cool, like the level of design and for its time and stuff. Like so it did lead to that kind of immersion and like the job scared the fuck out of me. So yeah.
And, and it really is. It's easy sometimes to forget when a game's been out a while that, oh, well, it was, what was scary about that? And then you're like, oh, yeah, no, actually, here's a chainsaw wielding maniac coming at you.
Yeah.
And those initial jump moments, yes, it was scary. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but speaking of scary, most of us have some childhood memory of horror, a film potentially perhaps they shouldn't have watched back when they were young, or something that disturbed them when they were a kid. What is one of your earliest memories surrounding horror films? And at what age do you think you experienced your first one?
Yeah, really good question. I've got like a lot of moments that I reflect on. So my dad is a total shit, right? And he there was this thing online, I don't even remember it, like called the Scary Maze game. And like it's just like a standard maze thing. You have to get like from point A to point
Hmm.
B, like that sort of thing. But basically when you get to a certain point, it just like it throws onto the demon girl from The
Oh, one of the,
Exorcist.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's just like my dad like got me and my sister, who was like way younger than me as well. So it was just like, oh my God. And like I think we had nightmares for days after that.
I mean, what's the
Um,
point of having kids if not to do things like that to them?
yeah, yeah. I guess it was formative, and I got thick skin out of it. So,
That's amazing.
but yeah, I guess like really sort of diving into it, like. I hate saying this, but like the Saw franchise, like I
Okay.
remember when the first film, which I can still watch to this day and say actually
Hmm.
like I think it was quite a reasonable for its time, pretty good film, if not a little gory. But yeah, me and my wife, at the time, she's my girlfriend. We've been together quite a long time. But
Hmm.
yeah, we used to just like kind of watch all of the franchise from start to finish
Mm.
because we had loads of time and we could do that.
Ah, yes. I mean, I think yeah, like I think the Saw thing is one of those where it's like it gets more disrespect these days because obviously a franchise gets extremely bloated, and there have been some suspect movies within it. But those sort of the early sort of films, the first one, even the second, and even some of the later ones were really strong. And the first one, regardless of the level of violence and gore, whether that's your thing or not, yeah, it's still holds up, I think.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like I'm not spoiling anything, like, but just that twist at the end, like, it's just like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
James Wan, Leo Whannell, they nailed that because the music, the visuals, how it's done, everything about that finale is still
yeah,
like it is like the whole like, oh, top 10 most shocking moments in horror. Okay, it might not quite make the top, but it's up there. Do you know what I mean? Like it's in the conversation.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Like it'd be silly not to include it.
Hmm. What effect though do you think those sort of early experiences of horror had on you from like either positive or negative?
I think like mostly positive. I mean, I
Hmm.
guess like the negative would just be it kind of like made sort of shocking things quite like you're a little bit desensitized, I guess,
Hmm.
to that sort of stuff. But with the exception that like actually I do love the kind of the thrill and just like it's like some people who I know, like my friends who are kind of like they could never watch a horror film and they're sort of like, oh, I don't like that feeling of being scared, but I'm kind of like, no, I really crave it because it's like, it's a moment of thrill and like,
Hmm.
excitement and like, oh my God, and I watched a film on Netflix called, oh, what was it called? Oh God, I can't remember. But it was basically like, if I could describe it,
Hmm.
this woman gets a house on like Airbnb and like she's staying there like in this weird, really dodgy neighborhood and like you don't suspect you kind of initially suspect like this guy, so there's this guy that's there and like he's in the house already because there's been like a double booking kind of situation
Oh yeah.
basically and like and you kind of think like, oh, like is he kind of dodgy and like should she be worried, but like actually like he's fine. There's something way more sinister about this house that I won't spoil, but when you witness it, it's like holy fuck, like it
Barbarian.
just. Yes, 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 exactly. That's the one. Yeah, thank you.
No, no worries. It sounded roughly familiar. And you're thinking, okay, I think I've seen this. Yeah, that's cool, cool
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really love that one. Um, yeah, I'd say like mostly positive, mostly positive.
I asked that because ultimately, when you see horror, if you watch a lot of horror, perhaps potentially, or see a horror film at a young age, that early disturbing content, particularly depending upon which horror it is, could have sometimes a negative kind of effect initially. It can something that maybe blossom into a more positive thing. But yeah, it's sometimes intriguing to get an answer to because you're right. I've also know many people who just simply don't watch horror, whereas I tend to not go a day
Yeah.
without watching something. Like there's always something on.
Yeah, yeah.
And mine harks all the way back to me being quite young. Do you have a particular moment in horror, be it a specific film or even a scene that defined your childhood?
Ooh, define my childhood.
Mm.
Um, really trying to think here. I think I keep thinking of The Exorcist. Like
Mm.
it was just like so. Yeah, like I know you sort of watch it today and you kind of think like, yeah, it might look a bit little goofy at times and but I just think like just the sickening sort of feeling of like, I mean that girl has been through the worst. Like she has like been dealt the worst hand of cards, the whole possession and like
Mm.
yeah, like I do quite like possession movies. Like I know
Okay.
there's a bit formulaic, like, but like The Conjuring as well. Yeah, I think Conjuring actually, yeah, that is it's a good film.
Mm. I mean, I think The Exorcist is one of those. solid answers in the sense that it's a classic for a reason. And even though, as you say, it's shown its age, it's still a fact that it's made in 1973 and holds up maybe better than films that existed 10 years ago. I think the mileage and sort
Yeah,
of like possession thing is only like the low mileage net has only become in modern times where there's been such a glut of them that it becomes difficult to pick them out. Because even The Conjuring, you use The Conjuring as an example, but that's what, four films now? And if you take in the universe, so like The Nun and all of that stuff, you're looking at more like 10
yeah,
films and it starts to get a bit exhausting. When you say you like things
yeah.
like The Conjuring, do you keep up the date with franchises though? Do you kind of like make sure, okay, I'm going to watch the next one that comes along and so on?
Yeah, no, I not really, because I do sort of have that like fatigue after a while where it's kind
Mm,
of like, yeah, the studios are really rinsing the hell out
pumping them
of
out.
every last drop. So I didn't watch any of the Nun films. I think my partner did, but yeah, I don't know. I yeah, I know what I like, and I'm pretty sure like I won't enjoy. Um,
Well, I would say if you like, you should check out the. I don't really care for the Conjuring movies. I don't care for that franchise. However, the Nun films were actually okay. There are some good stuff to be
okay.
found in there. So if you ever get time, there's two of them. Yeah, maybe make that an
Yeah.
evening.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, yeah. Give it a go.
Okay, then here's a big one, a kind of wide question. Then, what used to scare you? Not mean now, but then.
Yeah. Yeah. What used to scare me? Um, I guess just like creatures, like
Hmm.
yeah, I'm trying to think like exact examples, but like I watched The Witch, and
Okay.
actually like The Witch is like, I said creatures, but I'm actually going to go against that answer a little bit. The Witch is this awesome example of a film that kind of takes like the goat, like the classic sort of symbol of the devil and like all that sort of stuff, and like but really like there's actually like a human like anthropomorphic version of that goat, and it's
Hmm.
like with the devil, and it's just like just making kind of quite standard subjects seem really just quite uncanny and like yeah scary like stuff like that. I mean it's a bit more recent in my lifetime, but
Hmm.
I really enjoy that kind of like just using quite normal things but making them seem quite out of place and scary.
Well put. I love that. Absolutely. That's like to me the pinnacle of modern horror when you're able to do that, take something ordinary and make it frightening. It's the difference between every night, say at your home, you turn off the light in your living room before you go to your bedroom, and every night is exactly the same. But one night you turn off that light and that shadow in the corner, which you've looked at a million times before, just seems that little
Yeah.
deeper, that little bit darker. And if a horror movie creator is able to use that, in the case of The Witch, it really is fantastic.
Yeah, and like I love A24 and like Ari
Mm.
Aster and like Hereditary. Like man, if there's any film that like I remember watching it in the cinema, and I'm sure you know the moment that I'm like talking about, but like in the car, like just the it's like the kind of pause like of time after this shocking event happens, and
Yeah.
just like he's just looking into the mirror, and like he takes one quick look to like just check, and it's just like oh man, and like everything about that movie and the mum's reaction, and it's just like oh it just absolutely like just takes everything out of you, like all the joy in
Mm.
the world is just like being sapped out from your being.
That's it, isn't it? It's that deep gas moment, but it's the air sucked out of your body, and it's hard to recover. But I guess that's kind of the point.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely leaves a taste, a sour taste.
If you're not aware, keep an eye out for A24's new one due soon called Undertone. There's a trailer out there. If you've not seen that, check it out. I think that could be pretty cool.
Sick, yeah, nice.
Um, do you have a particular era or style of horror that you kind of deem to be the best? And if so, why? And what are some examples that you would give?
um Again, it's like I know it's a formula that like is repeated and repeated and
Hmm,
repeated, but like the zombie franchise, like
okay.
franchise, but like the as a subject, like but I'm talking like a bit older, so like I mean, actually, like the remade Dawn of the Dead film, I remember really fondly, and like
Yep.
that shocking moment with the girl, like who, you can't really tell what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like, whoa, she's just like eating the hell out of that dude. And it's, yeah, I do think that like zombie films can be done well, and another
Mm.
another example of that is it's a Spanish film called Wreck,
Hmm.
and it's like a first person perspective, like that
Yeah.
classic Blair Witch Project style. But it's just so good, like how it makes you feel really claustrophobic in this building, and like you can't escape, and you're really close quarters. Yeah, I really love that. I've got a lot of time for it.
I mean, zombies are my jam, man. The second part of our
Nice.
title, the brains part, is literally inspired by my favorite horror movie, The Return of the Living Dead. So, zombies are my
Nice.
jam. I mean, Wreck is I wouldn't call it modern example because it came out like 2007, but like it's up there
Yeah.
as a close to modern example of a brilliant modern-ish zombie film, you know. It's got a few sequels as well, and they're all pretty good in their own way, you know. So if you've never checked out any of them, definitely worth a go.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. I liked the second one a lot actually.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it held up just as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And might I recommend, as I'm doing this recommendation thing, now I'm on this now. I can't help it when we start talking about specific things.
Do
Do
it, do
check out a film called
it.
The Night Eats the World. It came out a few years ago. It's called The Night Eats the World. It's adapted from a French novel, and it's basically my favorite modern zombie film. Like the best
I
thing I'd seen.
think
In oh,
I think I've seen it. I think it's with
okay,
that guy he's at a party, right? And then
yep,
like all of a sudden, like I think he falls asleep and then like he
yep.
just or whatever, and he
Wakes up
wakes
to a
up and
zombie
it's
outbreak. Yeah.
oh my
Trapped in
God,
his
yeah,
apartment. It's a slow burn, kind of thought-provoking film. Yeah, okay, you've seen it. Okay, cool. No
yeah.
worries.
No, but no, great shout, like really great shout. Like
What
super
about
super
genres then?
underrated.
Yeah, super
Sorry, say
underrated. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Sorry, I spoke over you there. I was going to
that's all
switch it
right.
up to talking about genres because, of course, horror comes in many different forms. We've talked about a few already. But genres, are you a particular fan, say, of slashers, paranormal, gore fest, or is a little bit of everything kind of okay with you?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I'm not
Hmm.
like kind of there's not a particular one where like I would give that precedence over. I guess like paranormal. I like paranormal that when
Mm.
it's done well. So I mean, like Paranormal Activity just
Yep.
comes to mind because it's like it's the standard franchise. I mean, I think the later films do get quite silly, obviously, but I do think it. Again, it's one that like when it's done well, it's done really well. So yeah, and I think actually like just the not supernatural, but kind of. I mean, Stranger Things, I know has
Yep.
obviously concluded. Like, I was a really big fan of that, and just like that kind of blend of like reality with like this other world, um, and yeah, and actually like that kind of sort of coming of age nature sort of thing, like in horror, I think
Mm.
is really cool. So yeah, a lot of 80s films obviously like that kind of fit into that. But yeah.
It is a rare thing when a great coming of age story is combined nicely into a horror. And normally, when you talk about franchise, use Paranormal Activity and Stranger Things as good examples. A lot of the issues end up always being they become so big and bloated that they become almost parodies of themselves to some degree. That's not me running either franchise down. I have my own issues with both, but
Yeah.
I also like you like. Those early films, Paranormal Activity 1, 2, and even 3, and the first two seasons of Stranger Things are special. There's nothing to say there's not good stuff to come later on, but yeah, there's just a different kind of level of I don't know what it is.
I think it's just when somebody twigs onto the fact that like, oh, there's a commercial, like there's a dollar to be made here. It's just like, let's just make this more and more expansive. So there's so many characters, and you don't know any of their names or any of their stories. And yeah, just keep throwing it at them because they're gonna keep watching this shit. Yeah, it's a bit cynical, but
It is cynical, but it is reality as well because it works. And the proof
Yeah,
is happening right as of right now is Scream 7 has just been released and you can't move for people saying it's terrible. The reviews are
yeah.
running it into the ground. However, it is already one of the most successful entries in the franchise. So there you go. Money talks.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the best horror film to watch alone? So,
That's an interesting one. Um do you know what? It's like it's probably not the best film, like because you
mm,
mentioned The Night That Eats the World, but like it's just because it's such a like it's an isolating experience, and it really gets you into that mood of like, oh man, like this is a lot for like imagine you're like basically like the last or one of the last people on the planet and like or at least in the country and it's just
mm.
like how would you react in that scenario? Like I don't think I would last more than 2 minutes, let alone a couple of hours. So yeah, I think that's a really good one. Yeah.
I think we all like to believe that we'd be our own, like, live life to its fullest and experience it and like be our own hero and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But the reality is, most of us just would be dead quite quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how to tourniquet a wound. I don't know how to do this stuff. The moment I cut myself in the zombie apocalypse, I am dead from infection.
Yeah. It's really funny that like watching back The Walking Dead, the earlier
Oh
seasons,
yeah.
there's that moment where they have to base like I think the woman Rick Grimes' like other half is like pregnant and it's like they have to deliver a baby. In fact, like there's just moments like that, like having to deliver a baby when like the entire world has just shit has hit the fan. I also A Quiet Place does it
Mm,
incredibly well. Like, I mean, just the fact that like it's so tense anyway, because like if you make a sound, these creatures will come out of nowhere and like obliterate you. So like it really pushes that kind of very human thing to the extreme. Um, so yeah, so I forgot what
yeah.
the initial point was there, but I just I love little things like that.
No, I think I think childbirth and aspects like that in a world when we don't have medicine. I mean, of course, it was done what a long time ago. But yeah, I'd really rather not to experience that these days, please. Or like
Yes,
in
yeah,
that scenario where the world has ended and we literally can't get hot water.
yeah. The stakes are far higher.
Yes. That was alone. What about a film, a horror film then that is best to watch with a group? Beers, popcorn, whatever, but you're with a group and you want to put a film on.
Oh yeah, that is a good one. I keep saying Stranger Things, but it's only because like we had like a nice and it's a series as well, but
Mm,
we me and my other half went round
mm.
to like her friends and like we just had everybody with like we ordered Chinese in and like just hung
Nice.
out and like watched it and like it's just a great like because everyone's like they want to watch it and they want to like engage with it and stuff. So yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. Anything like whether a TV show, film that can bring people together to enjoy it. That's a cool thing. I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, we are at an hour, and I did say I wanted to keep this at an hour. So while we had to burn through a few more of these, I want to wrap it up with I asked you what scared you then, and I want to wrap it up with what scares you now. And what I mean by that is you said used the word before, desensitization. That is a big problem for people who watch horror regularly, to the point where most films, I struggle to be scared. Sometimes it happens, and I don't mean jump scares. I mean something that makes me feel uncomfortable, tense, and the idea that maybe there is something wicked out there. So, from your perspective, what is something that scares you now?
So yeah, it's a really great question. Because I think like obviously your tastes kind of adapt and evolve and mature, quote unquote. But I think what scares me now is actually like more of the unknown. And I think one of the really great like it's a historic example, but the Blair Witch Project, where like you don't really at any point kind of see like anything super nefarious. Like, I mean, obviously towards the end, there's inklings of that, but yeah, it's a lot of the sort of tension and like nervousness is like you don't actually know what's out there, and like
Mm.
I think that's super powerful. So yeah, I really like it when that's done well.
The unknown, fear of the unknown. It's yeah, I think it just causes it's something in us and like humanity where you kind of always want an answer to something. If you don't get it, it lets your imagination go wild, and that's not what we
Yeah.
need sometimes. It's not good.
Yeah, no, we're mostly rational beings, unless you're the president of the United States. But let's not get into that.
Beautifully thrown in there at the end. But you know what? The world is a horrible place to live in, and there are horrible people in charge. But you know what you can do to distract yourself? You can check out an album on March 27th called Growth by the band Wildernesses, out via Floodlit Recordings. And of course, that is a band that you were part of. I cannot, as I said at the start, wait to see the reaction to it. Um, this has been my absolute pleasure. Ryan, thank you so much.
Likewise, Cole, it was yeah, loved it, really loved it.
Thank you very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you like what you've seen, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does make a difference. Of course, you can find us at gbhbl.com and across almost all social media platforms. So do check us out there. If you really, really want to support us, though, consider buying us a coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you very much.